What's up, hybrids? Welcome back to another episode of the Fandom Hybrid Podcast. This is Hanako, and I am here with Anthony, Lori, and Mike, and we are discussing episode 5 of Shadow and Bone Season 2. Before we start talking about this episode, I want to talk about something that I've been meaning to mention when we talk about, when we discuss the episodes, and I've been forgetting. The title cards for this season.
They're fire.
I love them.
The art department does an excellent job.
Excellent job. And I love this one because at the beginning you see like 4 little crows sitting on the sign that says Shadow and Bone. And you have one crow that flies in to sit with them. And then in the background in the window, you have another crow that's like trapped and can't get out. I was like, oh, look, it's the crows. And with Nina and then with Matthias locked away. And did you notice one of the crows was holding one of Inej's knives?
Mm-hmm. No, I didn't notice.
The one
crow on the very end.
Yeah.
I love these title cards.
Yeah. Look at all the foreshadowing.
Mm-hmm. Very much so. But okay, let's get into this episode because there was a lot that happened in this episode. We had some epic fighting. We had some epic other things going on. The start of the episode, when Kirigan comes back to the room to see that Baghra and Genya have escaped. How in the hell did all that damage get done? Because Genya didn't do all of that. There were like the windows were messed up. The shades had holes in them. There was like, I know she did some damage, but I don't think she did all of that. Did she? Or was that something I missed?
Pretty wildly. She might have. I mean, he's just now finding out, it seems like, and because he was probably gone for a minute. So she had time. So she might have done it.
I guess. That the dude, Vladim, I think is his name, because on the closed captions it's spelled Vladem. That dude, let me tell you, if you were to look up minion in the dictionary, his picture would be next to it. Like, he's sitting there talking to Kirigan, oh, I thought it was important to call you back for this, blah, blah, blah. Even though we lost most of our stuff, I had the foresight to, like, he was expecting Kirigan to congratulate him because he had the foresight to keep the other 2 finger bones in a locket around his neck and that he can continue his experiments. Kirigan was like, I don't want to hear anything you have to say right now. I'm going to my room to throw a temper tantrum because my mama is gone. And Genya. But Kirigan in this episode, you kind of see him run the gamut of emotions. Like, he is angry and upset, and he's kind of wistful. And when Alina comes to him in that vision, you see him he's kind of hesitant and kind of skeptical about her. But then when she touches his face, he's kind of like, oh yes, this is what I want. Like, maybe she's really, really coming around to my way of thinking.
Nah.
Don't let the smooth taste fool you.
Mom and Genya.
But I mean, between him, Vladim, and Fruji, I think that's her name. I can't really pronounce it. Fruzi. I think that's how you spell her name. Fruji, the tide maker.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. That sounds right.
Let me tell you, there was one point in this episode where I thought Kirigan was about to light that ass up. When he was in his room and she came to tell him, we can't find Prince Nikolai, we can't find the Sun Summoner. And he was like, well, find them. And she was like, the forceful way she was saying it, she was like, our efforts would be better if we were to just take out the first army. Like, she's telling this to him, like, she's expecting him to be like, oh, you know what? You are so right. let me change that order and you
No.
guys go kill the first army first.
The amount of restraint that he showed was immeasurable.
Like the only problem with that is Prince Nikolai and his caravan are with my sun summoner. So at the risk of repeating myself.
I love it when people say that. At the risk of repeating myself.
In other words, get the fuck out of here and find her now.
Right. Like, I don't care about nothing else you got to say. It's almost reminiscent of Zoya in the first season when Alina had escaped and she was trying to pull on her, I guess, her little seductive thing to kind of calm him down. And she was like, well, do we really need her? She probably left on her own. You know, you used to call on me for certain things. And he was like, I'll be okay once I have my sun summoner. And Zoya was but that was kind of reminiscent of that, even though up to this point, we have no indication that Kirigan has had any kind of relationship with this girl. But still, I was just like, I started laughing when he turned around and he was like,
I mean, he has a history.
Repeating myself. Because like you said, Anthony, you can see it in his face. Like his eyes were kind of like, bitch, I said what I said. Go find her. But
I don't know why people are always trying to test his patience. He is already thin. Okay. I'm almost 50. Sorry, Mike. I'm almost 50. I know the older you get, the less patience you have, right? I can only imagine.
The less patience, you're exactly right. Yes.
I can only imagine how it is when you're, 400 years old. Because now everyone around you is a child.
Right.
They're all babies.
And they're saying childish things and they're doing childish things.
At the risk of repeating myself, I'm going to do that to Bailey one day and see what she says.
mean, his whole face was like, did you not hear what I said?
Yeah. Knowing Bailey, she'd probably be like, where'd you get that from?
If she's watched Shadow and Bone with her parents, she'll probably be like, Dad, you're not the Darkling.
No, she won't watch with us because she's already predicted how it's gonna end. Yeah. So,
has she told you how she thinks season 2 is gonna end?
I'll have to ask her.
Okay, because if she does, I want to discuss that sidebar and see how accurate her predictions are.
Right. If they're accurate, we need to have her as a special guest.
No, I mean, it's just like Anthony said in the last episode, it has something to do with this younger generation. Like they can see all the clues, they can follow all the tropes. And I think even with some of the stuff that may be unexpected, they still do it. Because this is one reason why I do not watch TV with my daughter, Mia. Like she'll be in the episode and she'll be like, oh no, this is what's going to happen. This is what this person sounds like. And I don't like this. There was something I was watching a few weeks ago. I cannot.
Doesn't she read a lot of YA lit?
She used to. She hasn't in a while.
But she used to.
Yes.
That's where Bailey is, reading a lot of YA lit. And like we said the last episode, those tropes just keep Xeroxing themselves from author to author.
Yeah. So now they do have some twists with some things, but yeah, I think it was okay, so this is not YA, but The Last of Us, the episode with the cannibals. Like I said, she came downstairs, she heard us, she heard it on TV, she heard just a little bit of what he was saying, Pastor David was saying right towards the beginning of the episode. And she was like, hold up, that man on some BS. She was like, he doesn't sound right. He sounds like one of those people that's like creepy pedophile types and da-da-da. At that point, it wasn't even the hint of cannibalism, but still she was like, just the way she was like, I only heard like 5 words that he said, and I already know he on some bullshit.
Yep.
But, okay. So, aftermath of the attack. So we do find out in the midst of the various scenes that we see throughout the episode, the king is dead, which means that Nikolai is now the king. Well, once the coronation happens, but technically speaking, he is the king at this point. They have a lot of dead. They have a lot of injured, a lot of wounded, including Adric, who they have to cut his arm off. Tolya has to take one of her axes and cut that part of his arm off in order to try to save him. I was like, that's a lot. But anyway, while they're down there, Alina starts losing control of her power again. One, she's already fretful because she still can't find Mal. She still has no clue that he's missing. She just knows that he's not down there. Like I said, a lot of dead, a lot of wounded. Nikolai is trying to send the wounded to another, I think it's another town. Again, I'm not going to try to butcher that. I'm not going to butcher that name, but he's trying to get her to hold it together. And as they're sitting there talking and trying to figure some stuff out, I thought one of the Nichevoy was coming down into that cavern. Because when that darkness started creeping down there and Nikolai was like, get all the wounded out of here. I was like, well, what army? Like, y'all have so many wounded. It's only a few of y'all that are able-bodied. What are y'all going to do? And then Bag was like, stupid girl, how long are you going to stand there before you let us down? I'm like, only Baghra. Only Baghra. Baghra is there. Genya is with her. And like I said at the beginning of this, actually I said this before we started recording. I forgot how intense this episode was, and I also forgot how emotional it was when Genya and Alina reunited. And all Alina had to do was just look at Genya, and she just went over there to hug her like all is forgiven. I was sobbing. I was like, oh yes, okay. The gang is back together again. But Genya, let me tell you, she had to deal with a whole bunch of bullshit in this episode. And I'm glad she stood up for her. I'm glad Alina stood up for her. I'm glad Nikolai stood up for her. I'm glad.
Well, not at first though. Nikolai was like,
but
arrest this bitch.
Yeah, but I mean, he had good reason because he didn't know. Like, no, he didn't know. Has been gone for years. He didn't know what had been going on. So once Alina stood up for Genya, I think he realized, okay, if Alina's standing up for her and Genya was one of the people who betrayed her, which he would have learned when David showed up, he was like, okay, you know what? Maybe I need to consider this. I need to think about this. You are safe here. But when the queen saw Genya,
Katrina? No, Tatiana.
When
of
she
course
saw
her name
Genya,
is Tatiana.
And was like, what did she say to her? At least you look like the monster you are, or something. And she was trying to have her arrested. Genya looked at her and she kind of pulled up to her full height. I said, oh, she finna let this bitch have it. And boy, did she. She didn't have to raise her voice. She was just like, ask me how I did it. Ask me, bitch. She was like, I put the poison all over my body for weeks. Every time he touched me, every time he kissed me, he took it into himself. All he had to do was stop coming to my bed. What are you going to say to that?
Nothing you can say.
The damn thing you can say because he was dead wrong and you can't even defend him. And just like all you can do is keep criticizing her and look like a bitch in front of everybody.
In front of everybody.
Yeah, because everybody heard that, they're probably like, oh shit, damn, that's kind of fucked up.
Right. Like all of the and you know, for years, Genya had it rough with the rest of the Grisha because the rest of the Grisha treated her almost like a pariah. She talked about in the first episode, like she wasn't included in everything else. She was kind of set apart because she was the queen's personal Grisha. And then the rumors were kind of going around about her and the king. But I'm pretty sure that the way the rumors were out there and the way the word was twisted, they were probably skewing it like Genya seduced the king, or that she was having a consensual relationship with the king. And they were all shunning her for it. But I mean, what else is she going to do? Say, no, the king is raping me? What is that going to do for her? Nothing. It won't protect her. So the fact that she's finally able to put all this out and say all of this, and at the moment that this happens, she's actually running from David. So when the queen corners her, David looks and he takes off. I was like, David, where the hell are you going? David went to go get Nikolai. He was like, what we not gonna do?
What we not gonna do?
Right.
Nikolai
comes around that corner and she was like, oh, you heard her arrest this murderer. He was like, no, not after what I heard. She is safe. And that's what he tells Genya. He was like, I apologize on behalf of all of Ravka for what you have endured. And she turned to him. She was like, I don't need your pity. I don't need your apologies. What's been done to me cannot be reversed. What I want to know is, are you going to be the person to change this broken country, or are you going to repeat the same mistakes as the kings before? And he got that question not once, but twice in this episode, because he also got the question from Baghra. She was like, are you going to be the one to change all of this? Or are you going to repeat past mistakes?
Yeah, I feel kind of bad for Nikolai. It's like everybody, it's just like their question, like, can you do this? Are you sure? Are you sure? He's like, y'all leave me alone.
I feel bad because it's on him to fix over 400 years of bullshit.
Yeah, shit that's nowhere near his fault.
Nowhere near his fault. And then because he is the son of the king and queen, like, people are looking at him like, oh, part of this is your fault too. No, he escaped. He got away from there. And that's one of the things Alina pointed out to him. She was like, not everybody was able to escape from the palace like you were. Some people had to do what they had to do in order to survive. And that was Genya. But
yeah, she's one of those people.
Yeah. But he's got a task ahead of him, and now everybody is looking at him like, okay, so are you gonna? I'm thinking about all these shows that we've watched, Game of Thrones, Wheel of Time, where it's like, okay, are you gonna fix the wheel or are you gonna break it? Are you gonna fix what's been broken about this country? Are you gonna move forward in a way that is healing to everyone, or are you gonna do the same stuff that everybody else is doing? I think he'll be different, because he genuinely seems like he wants to fix the country, but he's got a lot of work to do.
Yeah. Shout out to him for being like open-minded. Not his fault. Yeah. I like the fact that he's being open-minded. Like, at first he was like, yeah, wait till we get to the castle. I'm going to try you for treason. And then he actually listened to Alina when she explained what happened to her and what she went through in the castle. So it's like,
let me tell you, the Sun Summoner is not somebody you want to have as an enemy.
Yeah, but it's like, but he actually listened. He wasn't like hard-headed where he's gonna be like the queen. She was like, yeah, I'm her queen, or where she was like trying to be all standoffish and shit, even when she was proven wrong. But he was actually willing to listen and be like, oh, well, shit, that's fucked up. My bad.
Oh, that line that she said, she was like, when he was like, she was under your care. She's a servant. He was like, and you are the mother of Ravka. You are supposed to embrace all Ravkans as your children. She gets into that. Just stormed off. Because literally he's taking a stand right there in front of all the other Grisha saying, what you did was wrong, and I'm letting everybody know that I know that what you did was wrong. Even when he got ready to send her away later, she was trying to plead with him. She was like, no, I'm the queen mother. My place is at your side. He was like, look, I love you. And I know that your time as queen has not been kind. You didn't want to marry the king, and, you were ostracized. You weren't treated well as queen. But still, some of the shit that you allowed was shit you shouldn't have allowed. And if I'm going to be the one to make the change, I can't have any of that old regime with me. So yeah, you got to go to a convent. Bye. She was mad, but I mean, he made a lot of sense. Why would I sit here and try to fix the world and still have vestiges of the problem, the old problem, sitting right? That's just like, I hate to say, that's just like Tommen having Cersei sitting next to him when he was king. Nothing good coming out of that. And nothing good would have come out of Tatiana. She probably would have been trying to make her own alliances or trying to whatever. Yeah. I just she got told off, and she very well deserved it. I think I'm gonna be honest, I think she kind of got off easy.
I mean,
I really think she did.
I mean, he could have been spiteful and be like, all right, come on, and then put her on the front line to be like, there, now, be a queen.
Yeah, but I was thinking he may not want to test that fire too much, considering he might be a bastard and she could blow his shit up. So
because I'm sitting here.
I was worried about that.
I'm trying to figure out, Anthony, same as you, because he says bastard, and then it's like, okay, she's the queen, and neither boys look alike at all. So
they don't look alike. They don't act alike. There's nothing alike about them. But that's
actually not unusual with siblings. There are lots of pairs of siblings who have the same parents and they look nothing alike.
Well, that's like because they think they have the same parents. But what I was getting ready to say is,
hey, I don't look anything like my brother. We don't.
I was going to say you and your brother don't look alike.
We don't look alike. We don't look alike, and we have the same parents.
What's your mailman look like?
So, and the other thing too, I think is, I don't think she's going to open her mouth about that.
No, she's too worried about keeping up appearances.
Yeah, not only that, but technically speaking, if you have a bastard on the king, isn't that technically treason? Yeah, she not gonna say shit.
Yeah,
she ain't saying shit.
I'm saying if she giving up the ghost, so to speak, what else is she giving up? She'd be giving up all kinds of shit, like I mean, loose lips sink ships, so to speak.
All I'm saying is that as we get on later episodes, I think I know who his daddy is.
Really?
Okay, we're not even gonna get into that conversation because I got to sit here and think about that. But okay.
Oh, you know what? I think I know where she's going.
Okay, stop. Nope. Okay, no, we're not doing this. No, not yet. We'll do this after.
I think I know what she's gonna say. That's okay. Go ahead.
But
go ahead.
But the other thing is, when Genya does finally get there, she's able to help heal Adric from his amputation. She does have a confrontation with David because, she keeps avoiding him because she doesn't want him to see her. And, the exchange that they have is interesting to me because all he wants to do is see her and to just let her know that he's glad that she's okay. And I think, like I said, I think he does feel a little bit of guilt about leaving her. But even with Genya, she was like, I told you to run. You did what I told you to do. There's nothing you could have done to help. I don't want your guilt. I don't want your pity.
You would have been dead.
You would have been dead. Yes. Dead. But the thing that I loved is that at this moment, like, you really don't have anything to lose. Go ahead and put them feelings on the line, because he basically told her, look, I understand that you got issues with the way you look. I don't care about any of that. He was like, you're a strong person on the inside. That's your beauty. That's your strength. And I should have never left you. I'm sorry. Basically, I'm sorry. And the scene after, what happens after that when she calls to him and he was like, I'm trying to figure out though, like, how did you guys find us? Because of course the spinning wheel is gone. It's gone. They're underground. And what did she say? She said, Baghra amplified me so that I could seek out familiar heartbeats. And I think it took him a second to realize what that meant. But I don't think up until that moment, he realized just how important he was to Genya. Sometimes I hate to say, y'all men, y'all are clueless sometimes. Like it could be right there smacking your face and you don't see it.
Well, they even ain't the fast. I mean, he's smart, but he ain't too, he's not real quick.
On the uptake. Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
No, he's not.
But when it clicked. So I'm like, okay, good. Now we have that shit finally. All right. Let's move on.
I was expecting to hear Bruno Mars start singing like "When I See Your Face," start singing "Just the Way You Are" to her, like because he's like, I mean, I thought that was really sweet. Like, he broke it down to her. It's like, look, I don't care. I'm attracted to you. Like, and it's like a lesson for everybody, for like, loving first someone for the inside as opposed to the outside. So
yeah, but think about how she kind of grew up. She grew up that beauty was the most important thing. How you look and your appearance is what was important. That's why the queen was using her services. That's why the queen would bring her friends over to have her do. That's all she did was tailor people. So to her, appearances is everything.
Yeah, that's how she was brought up. That to fix it and make it look good. But I mean, now she has someone who's like, you ain't got to do that no more. I got you.
Yeah. Aww. I like the little analogy he made because he was like, what did she say? She was like, she said, I can't tell you what this is like, and I don't have the strength to explain it to you. And he was like, I mean, I understand that, but I understand still. She was like, what the hell does that have to do with it?
You have to talk to people in the language they understand.
Right. But and that's how he understood. He was like, look, your beauty is your armor. I understand that. He was like, but still, that's what's in you. It's strong and it can't be broken. And it doesn't need fixing. You don't need fixing. You can just see her melt. And I'm just sitting here like, that's so sweet. I'm telling you, I was
the way you want.
I was a mess in this episode. There were so many good moments. David and Genya, Wylan and Jesper, until it wasn't good, and then it was good again. We'll get into them too, but
oh my god.
But continuing on with what's going on here with Alina and all of them. So once Baghra gets there, she kind of confesses to Baghra about the fact that she's been seeing Kirigan through astral projection and that she wants to break this connection. And so Baghra kind of encourages her, hey, you have to be the one to break this connection. Other than that, he's going to be able to use it, against you. So she actually goes into this astral plane where they are able to communicate. And she starts pulling the, I'm going to take Lori's term, Romeo Pimptress. I don't know what we want to call it. She starts pulling this like seductive talk to him about,
Go ahead, Mike. Hey, baby.
Hey, baby. I know you're surprised to see me, baby. But I just wanted to talk to you real quick, baby.
Oh, that job you was talking the other night. I was thinking about it, baby, and I kind of like it, baby.
It's just it could be me and you, baby, forever and ever, baby. We'll never get old. We'll stay young and spry, baby.
Yeah, she basically walks up to him and she's telling him everything he wants to hear. Yeah, you were right. There is nobody else like us.
I need someone to recut that scene with Space Age Pimp playing in the background. That would be epic.
Oh my God, I will never listen to that
Hell yeah.
song the same way again. I hate you. I will never listen to that song the same way again. Oh my God. But anyway, so yeah, she's walking up to him and she's caressing his face and all this other stuff. And at first he was looking at her like, bitch, what you doing? Then when she touched his face, he was just kind of like, how can we give into that? Oh, she's like she's coming to me. This is it. I've been waiting for her. I've been patient and she's coming to me. She finally admitted that Mal doesn't understand what she's going through and it's just me. Then she takes his hand and she grabs it and she pours some of that light into it, I guess, to dissolve whatever connection they have, whatever piece was remaining in him. And as at this moment or during this exchange, she's in like a, I guess it's kind of like an underground church. So she's sitting in there where she's communicating with Kirigan. At this point, Mal shows up. And Nikolai is like, where were you? I was about to send, I was scared I was going to have to tell Alina you were dead. He was like, no, I got taken by First Army. Where is she? And Nikolai was like, oh, she's safe. And then all of a sudden you hear rumbling. And Mal sitting here looking like, that don't sound like safe. That sounds like the ceiling is about to come down on us. But it's because as she's connecting with Kirigan, she's starting to lose control of her powers. And Mal is sitting there like grabbing her, trying to break her out of it. And she can hear him in the astral projection, but she's still trying to do what she needs to do to break this connection. So finally, Mal pulls her out of this connection and she's hurt in the back of her head. She's just hurt because she was almost close to severing it. And Mal pulled her out. So she gets mad at Mal. I'm like, bitch, not 20 minutes ago, you were worried about him, whether or not he was dead, alive, where was he, whatever. Now you mad because he broke a connection that he didn't even know you had because you weren't being honest with him.
Because he's like, wait. You connected to him?
You have a connection?
I almost broke the connection. Wait, what?
Right. He was like, why didn't you tell me? Well, I couldn't tell you because you were gone. He was like, because I got arrested. I got kidnapped by First Army. Vasily had me arrested for desertion. And the look on her face was like, oh, I was like, see, here we go again. Like, Alina, I be trying to have your back. But when it comes to Mal, you treat him like trash sometimes. Like,
I hope we all realize that this relationship is going like, it's going to crash and burn at the end as she's dying in his arms.
Yeah, I told you, I already called it. I called it last episode.
Go ahead. Mark it down.
Yeah, but she's sitting there. She's upset. And she was like, what was it? She said something about them being in lockstep. And he was like, hold up. Step. That was what it was. She was upset with him because she was like, you're just putting one foot in front of the other. Basically, what y'all were talking about in the last episode, whatever Alina is saying, Mal does, and she's even like, oh, you're sitting here doing all of this. Oh, okay. Stag, Sea Whip, Firebird, engagement. Like, you're going to walk me down the aisle and you act like nothing's wrong and blah, blah, blah. And he was like, of course, or what'd she say? And you act like it doesn't hurt. He was like, of course it hurts, but what else am I supposed to do? He was like, you are on a path that I can't even follow. You're doing this, and this. He was like, you're putting yourself at risk. Meeting with Kirigan, trying to break this connection. He was like, I'm already doing everything that I can to try to help you do what's right, to get rid of the foe, to save Ravka, to protect yourself. I'm doing everything that I can do. And you keep doing other shit. He was like, it's like nothing else exists. And she basically was like, it doesn't. And he was like, okay, I do it. I needed to hear you say it.
Say less.
Right. And she tried to take it back. He was like, no. He was like, this is what you were meant for. You were meant for greater things. He was like,
some stuff you can't take back.
Right. He was like, all I can do is find you the Firebird. That's all. And that's basically all it is. I'm here to do whatever it is that you need to do to be greater. Whatever. He turns around and walks off, and she's sitting there upset because she realized, like, get out and put my foot in my mouth again.
She said it and she tried to grab it and bring it back. It's too late. Mal's gone. He's like, oh, okay. I see where I stand.
Yeah. And when you're talking to
and
somebody,
I don't blame Mal. I don't blame Mal at all. I really don't.
I don't.
Like, I really don't.
And I honestly don't think she meant it in that way, but right now,
yeah, she did.
No. What I'm saying is I don't think that she's saying that Mal is not important to her. I don't think that's what she was saying. But
no, what she said was, this is more important than us.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. That's what she was saying.
Mm-hmm. And the thing is, like,
you know what? Because it's almost like she should have a conversation with Kirigan and be like, you know what, Kirigan? You do you. Me and Mal, we're going to go back to the orphanage and we're going to run the orphanage and raise some kids. You just have at it. You know what I'm saying? Just have at it. Just leave us alone. Yeah. This is all Mal wants.
Yeah, but the other thing is, Mal knows that that's not what's meant for her. But
we know that's not what's meant for her. I'm saying.
Yeah, I know. But I guess my whole thing is everything that Mal has done, has given up, has sacrificed. Like, he lost friends trying to find this fucking stag for you. Mm-hmm. At least, again, show him the courtesy of understanding how much he has sacrificed.
Without spoiling anything, we see this exact relationship later. We see the same thing later. This is how it's supposed to be, not how it is. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I also think that this is a very troubling trend for Alina, because she's getting more and more about saving Ravka by any means necessary. She's like all Malcolm X about this shit now, and it's like she's like I want to save Ravka. I want to save it by any means, and I don't care who I go through. Mm-hmm. I'm gonna, and it's like she's like laser focused and blinded about getting what doing this and getting what she wants. That I don't think she really, like you said, I don't think she knew what she was saying to Mal sounded, but it's like she probably had better intentions than the words that came out of her mouth. But she was still like, I could have severed a tie. We could have gotten an upper hand on Kirigan, and we could have won this blasted war, and then I could have found the Firebird and done all this stuff. I'm doing all this stuff, and you're not helping, and you're not talking to me. And it's like, I think she really, she loves Mal, and she was like, why haven't you been fighting for me more? I think she wants him to fight more, like, be like, no, what the hell? It's
that dude has almost died for her how many times? How much more fighting can you, like, okay, so this is the thought that I had in my head that just went out a few minutes ago. Alina, I feel like her sense of self-importance is getting to a point where she, in a lot of aspects, and we talked about this with the last episode, in a lot of aspects, she's starting to mimic some of Kirigan's personality traits, and it's more than just, I'm the only person who can destroy the foe. Yes, that may be well and true, but you can't stand on this hill alone. You have to have other people behind you to help you. Think about it. You wouldn't even be where you are right now without a Mal, without the Crows, without Nikolai, without all of these people who have been helping you every step of the way. But for you to sit here and have that self-importance that, I have to be the one to do this. This is the only thing that's important. Yes, it is important. But don't burn your bridges on the way to trying to fulfill that prophecy, because those bridges, if you burn them, you're going to fuck yourself up. And I just feel like she's not, I think part of the thing is she takes for granted that Mal will always be there. She really takes that for granted, and I understand it. He's always been there. There's been no precedent where he hasn't been, except for when they were being forcibly kept apart. And even with that, Her dumb ass was sitting here thinking, oh, he forgot about me. Oh, he's mad at me because I'm Grisha. Oh, he's not writing me. In what world is this that Mal would ever be like, oh, okay, fuck this bitch. I don't want nothing to do with her. No.
Again, we need to remember that these aren't adults. These are young people. Everybody in this story is young.
And like I said
they're
before,
barely made it into adulthood. They're like 20 years old. Like, really.
Right. So, and Alina before this probably hasn't had a relationship like this. She didn't even think about Mal in relationship terms. Like they were just friends.
But you don't have to think about him in relationship terms. That is your best friend. That is your ride or die. That is the person that y'all have always had each other's backs. So it has nothing to do with age. That's common sense. There are certain things that are true in this world. And for her, it should be that she should know that Mal is 100% loyal to her, period. Relationship or not. Period.
Yeah, but it's fair to say that the dynamics of their relationship have changed slightly now because of how they've expressed their feelings for each other. And that's new to her. So
but the core of that is still the same. The core of that has not changed.
But she's figuring that out. She's figuring that out now. She didn't know that before. Okay, I know you're not taking this as an excuse, but I'm still gonna say it. She's young. And as the elder spokesman here in this chat, in this podcast, I'm gonna say these youngins don't know anything about any of this relationship stuff.
I've been young before. There are some things that you just know.
But she don't have the experience. Like, you're not in that way. But like
experience. Some things are instinct. Some things you know in your gut.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily.
I can tell y'all don't read YA and romance a lot.
No.
At all. At all.
And that should tell you right there, your expectation level might be a little bit out of whack.
Women's intuition, there are some things that you know and don't have to have explained to you.
Then why do so many women put their best friends in the friend zone, knowing good and well that that's probably the person you should be with? Oh, but he's like my brother. So no, I don't see you that way because I
will say this, blah, blah, blah. As far as that type of thing goes, sometimes if you have a friendship with somebody and you're not looking at them in a romantic way at first, regardless, there are some people who later on down the line, they end up falling in love with each other. But if they when you think about Alina and Mal, they never discussed each other as, oh, he's like my brother, oh, she's like my sister, because deep down, they already knew that they felt different ways about each other. They just didn't know that the other person reciprocated. But when you have a best friend, I have a best friend that I have been best friends with since the start of my 9th grade year. And we've never looked at each other romantically. He's always been like a brother. When you start seeing someone in that way, at least for me, to turn around and try to look at them differently, it feels very incesty. I can't do it.
But not everyone is the same. And so we have to allow for, like, he ain't never had a girlfriend, she ain't never had a boyfriend, and they've been together all these
Mal
years.
has had I won't say he's had relationship.
Yeah, he's had relations, not relationships.
Yeah. So, but
because Zoya tried to get a piece
if
too.
You're having relations with somebody. You're having relations with somebody. You sort of know how this thing works. We don't know the extent of what those relationships were. He may have tried to have relationships and then realized, oh, I can't be with this person because I feel like this for somebody else. We don't know because that's not an important part of the story. But what I'm saying, we've gone into the weeds, as Anthony likes to say, but what I'm saying is there are certain things that, as far as their friendship goes, that Alina should know without a doubt by this point, especially after he proved that bullshit, fake last year when she was like, "Oh, you just forgot about me. You didn't write to me." He was like, "I wrote you all the time. Like I've been trying to find you since you left camp. I have crossed the country on feet. I have been shot. I have been stabbed. My 2 friends got killed trying to find this fucking stag for you. Like, come on now. There are certain things that shouldn't have to be spelled out for you. And one of those things is that Mal is your fucking ride or die.
Right. But there's a difference between, I mean, I still think you're giving her way too much credit. Like, way too much.
And I think you're not giving them enough. Again,
look, I can only, okay, I can only see this as, because I can only say I'm putting this in the way that Alina is acting. It's like she is not really, she doesn't know, she's not catching her. Like when she was talking to Mal after he snapped her out of it, she couldn't catch herself and see and hear how she was sounding. But she just went off on him. And it's like Mal might be mature, might have more experience to be a little more mature and can handle it, because he was like, because he wasn't really trying to engage her like that, but she was just going off on him and still saying things that sounded terrible, that sounded like didn't sound the way that she wanted them to sound, but she was still plowing through with it. That's why I was saying that she is not experienced enough to know that I need to pull back some. That didn't sound right. Like she didn't even really try. It didn't seem like she really tried to like walk anything back and be like, look, that's not really what I meant to say. She just went straight forward with it.
No, she tried at the end when he walked off, but I think but like her emotions when she first came out of that state, I can understand that because she's right there. She's almost severed this connection. And then when you see in the next scene with her and Baghra talking, she's talking about how she can feel Kirigan. She's like, every time I use my power, it's like he has his hand on me, forcing me to use it. So I can understand her agitation at not being able to sever that link. And, you know, like I said, once Mal kind of put it out there, he was like, oh, okay, see, that's what you meant. I just needed to hear you say it. So now that we know what pages we're on, we know that you are way over here and I'm way back here, and this is where we're going to be. And he walks off like she understands what she said and what she's done. But
you know how I know she doesn't understand? She had been worried about Mal, looking for Mal feverishly, but when he snapped her out of it, her first instinct wasn't like, oh my God, where the fuck have you been? I missed you. She was like, what the fuck did you do that for? That was the first thing she said to him.
Because right then, her thing was she was trying to break the link with Kirigan. If you listen to the conversation she had with Baghra, not only is she trying to sever this link from Kirigan, like this actual physical link, she needs to sever the mental link as well. Kirigan is in her head. She thinks that everything about her is because of him. She thinks that her being Grisha, her being told she was meant for great things, these are all things that he told her, instilled in her. And like she said, he betrayed Genya, he betrayed Ravka, and Baghra had to say to her, and he betrayed you. He violated you. When you are in a space, even a headspace where somebody has that much control over what you do and how you feel, even though that person, the other person who broke her out of that is right there, she's more so when she's coming out of that, she's thinking, oh my God, I almost broke this. I almost had him out. And you don't realize how deep it is for her mentally, emotionally, until she has that conversation with Baghra. So what I'm saying is I don't blame her for not, like, when she sees that Mal is okay, when she comes out of it, she's still angry, because I think in her mind, when she was in the astral plane with Kirigan, she heard Mal's voice. Alina, stop. Alina, come back. Alina, come back. She heard it. So in her mind, she's like, oh, okay, he's alive. He's He's all right. Okay, I'll deal with that in a minute. Let me hurry up and get this motherfucker out of my head.
She's just selfish.
I think it partly, yes. I do think that is it. Again, I think her sense of self-importance has started to get up there. But I think
It's
also
way
too,
high.
she really was just trying to get Kirigan whatever grip he has on her, whether real or imagined. She's trying to get rid of that. But she, like you said, the way she reacted, and it's like she didn't realize until she said the wrong thing. She was like, oh wait, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Okay. But it's a little too late for that now. But at least I think he was able to break through to her, like, okay, so you doing all this dangerous stuff, you going after Kirigan on your own, that's not going to work. Like, what are we doing all of this other stuff? What are all of these people dying for if you're just going to put yourself in harm's way without thinking of anything else to do? And I think she realizes that when she goes to talk to Nikolai, and she gives him back the ring, because, you know, when he asked her, when her and Mal start having this exchange, Baghra and Nikolai are both in the room. And when she goes off on Mal, Baghra and Nikolai kind of look at each other, and they walk out the room. They're like, yeah, we don't want to be a part of this conversation. So Nikolai asked her, he was like, you know, is everything okay with Mal? And she was like, he's never walked away from me like that before. I don't know. And he was like, Mal loves you. Anybody can see it. I can see it. And it's like, when he says that, that's the first time I think anybody has said anything about love between those two. And the fact that you have to have a stranger tell you this, because at this point, Mal and Alina have not said those words to each other. Like, it's very evident, but they haven't actually said the words. And the fact that Nikolai can say, Mal loves you, I can see it. And she's like, you know what? Yep, you're right. Let me give you this ring back. And he was like, Firebird. She was like, yeah. Because again, Mal is not going to steer her wrong. He has not so far. So if he says, okay, we need to go find this Firebird so you can finally do what the fuck it is you need to do, including getting rid of Kirigan, what else are you going to do? Like, she could have died trying to sever that tie with him. I mean, you see her holding her head. She's got blood on her head, probably from when she...
That's when she smacked her head on the floor.
Yeah, but it's like,
like
she
in the Matrix.
She could have died.
Mm-hmm.
She could have knocked herself unconscious doing that. Kirigan could have killed her. The Neshenyar could have gotten to her. Stop being so
selfish.
And so headstrong that you just go into things without thinking. Again, you were a cartographer. You were not a soldier. You don't know how to plan things tactically. Leave that for other people. But yeah, so she's gonna go off and find the Firebird. And yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Let's talk about the crows a little bit. Because Wylan and Jesper are mourning after Bliss.
They got the glow.
Kaz is having nightmares in his bed because he's dreaming about the water and waking up on the barge and touching the dead flesh of the people that were on the barge. And, he wakes up and he's like literally trying to scrub the feeling off of his hands. And this is where... I can't blame him,
because that's kind of hard. I can't even imagine that happening now. It's like laying in a barge full of dead people, including your brother, like with a communicable disease where you're like popped out. And I'm like, ugh. Like, I don't think I would never feel clean ever again. There's no chance.
And then if you think about it, you don't know how long those bodies have been there. You don't know how long he's been on that barge, how long he's been unconscious.
And he probably had to swim to shore.
Yeah, but even before that, The bodies are wet. You see it when you see his vision of him touching the stomach of one of the people. The flesh is wet. Anything that we've learned in science class about dead bodies, at some point, gas is going to start expending the bodies. And it probably just felt clammy and moist and just gross.
Okay.
I'm sorry, I said the M word.
Okay. Oh God.
I'm sorry, I said the M word. But yeah, so anyway.
You said a lot of words that were just disgusting. That whole you and your descriptors were just.
But like that puts you in the mind of Kaz Brecker and why he has this phobia that he has. Ugh. But it's right after that they get the letter from Nikolai about finding Neshenyar. And Tolya and Zoya have finally gotten there. Now, it's so funny because Zoya and Nina are sitting on opposite ends of the table, and they're having these conversations, and Zoya is accusing Nina of, abandoning the country and betraying. She was like, excuse me, it didn't take for him to destroy a city for me to see where my loyalties needed to be. And Zoya was looking at her like, bitch. She was telling the truth. Nina was gone way before all of that happened. She was like, yeah, I'm not working for this dude anymore. Deuces. But this is where they get the orders as far as what they need doing and, the mission. Kaz is still being hard-headed, talking about knowing Inej is not going to be a part of this, not a part of this mission. Jesper was like, fuck you.
Yeah, in the words of the great Pharrell Williams, happy birthday, by the way. He should stop fronting. I mean, we know by now. By now, it's like every time he says something about Inej not coming back or Inej going away, we're just looking at him like, really, dog?
And I even love it when Nina and Jesper are in Inej's room because Nina is taking off the slave symbol off of Inej's wrist. And Inej is like, why would he not tell me about this, about this job for the Sun Summoner? And Nina was like, because he would rather push you away rather than admit how he feels about you. And Inej and Jesper both looking at her like, what? And she was like, oh, I'm sorry. Was I not supposed to say that out loud? Jesper was like, I am so glad you actually
Okay, so
wait, don't start talking about snark, Anthony, because that was the perfect amount.
No. There's something else. Can we step back for a second?
Mm-hmm.
So now Nina and her powers. Mm-hmm. Because now she's removing it. She's changing the tattoo.
Okay, yeah.
So she's the heart render. I was saying she was trying to do healing in the last episode. You're like, well, no, maybe she was using like regular medicine. Mm-hmm. No, I think she was actually doing some healing. She was trying.
And you know what? I thought about that when I watched this episode again, because if I remember from the first season, they all can do like certain things that other Grisha can do, like certain things within that skill set, but it's just the one thing that they do that they are like the experts on. I think I remember something about that in the first season.
Okay.
So yeah.
So maybe right. The
corporality?
Yeah. So heart renders fall under that category.
I believe so.
So maybe they all, if you're in that category, you have the ability to do certain things. I think we talked about this before, because it's how it is with Jedi, because some Jedi are good at other things and not good at some things. Like they're Jedi that heal, but they really can't do anything else. Like foresight is something. Some Jedi have some degree of foresight.
Right.
Like Anakin was pretty high, Yoda was pretty high. Obi-Wan is okay, but he's just really good at seeing blaster fire coming at him. Like there's like ranges. So maybe heart renders is just a specific subset type, but you can still do a little bit of healing, but you really got to work at it. And some of them may not have to work at it as much.
Yeah. Because
So
if you think
maybe
about it too, Genya saying what she did early in this episode, Genya is a tailor, which is kind of sort of
which is
like a healer, but
same
not
thing.
not
Is
much.
there a big difference between a tailor and a healer?
Supposedly, because Genya has made mention a couple of times that her particular type of Grisha power is extremely rare.
Yeah, like she can actually alter a person's appearance. But if you can change someone's physical properties, then you should be able to heal as well.
So it's with tattoo. I thought the tattoo removal would be more tailoring than healing.
I think it would be it's the same. Like you're healing the scarring from the tattoo
because you still see
you still see the
outline
scar.
of
she had to she had to remove the ink or whatever.
Yeah, but and if you think about it, like I said with Genya, when she told David how she found them, she said Baghra amplified me so that I would look for familiar heartbeats. You would think that's something a heart render would do.
Yeah. So she has, so they all have, if you're in that area, you all have that sort of range.
Yeah.
So you're just really good at something and not as good at something else.
Right.
Well, if you look at it, if you look at it book wise, they're like Misty Lackley's heralds. They all have a basic, but then they move up in skill set on different ways that they can do different things. So I see them as herald like. But I agree that a tailor and a healer are pretty much basic, except for, as they get a higher skill set. Now, my question I had with her is that her face is horribly scarred. Can't she tailor herself?
No. Baghra says so in the last episode, because when we first see Genya after she's regained consciousness, that's what she's doing. She has her hand over her face, and Baghra says there's no sense in trying to tailor that girl. That scar was created by Merzos. You won't be able to fix it. No amount of tailoring will be able to remove that.
Okay, so not even a healer could maybe heal it a little bit?
No, because if you think about it, just like with Kirigan, Genya was able to take away some of it, but the rest of it she couldn't, and she said that's the extent of my powers.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I remember Baghra saying that now, but I didn't catch what the full meaning of it, I guess. So my next question is okay. So you're talking about familiar hearts, and you're talking about how they can sense and the amplify. If she can sense David, does that mean that David could possibly, if he was searching for her, because remember she was looking for him, he could sense her because he's a
Duras. I think that's a different classification.
So it wouldn't. Okay. All right.
I don't think. Or you know what? I will say this. Maybe that's one of those things. Like, okay, so if you think about it, like, let's say in the military, okay. Right. You can be in the military. Everybody who's going to be in the military is going to get basic first aid skills.
Right.
You're going to get basic whatever skills. And then depending on what branch you're in, like somebody in the army is not going to be able to fly a jet.
Right.
Somebody who's flying a jet is not going to be able to man a sub.
Right.
So I think about it on those levels. Like there are certain things that they all can do. Like maybe they can all heal to a certain degree, like basic first aid. Maybe they all can hear heartbeats. They may not be able to control them like a heart render, but there may be certain things that they all can do across the board. But
I don't think so. I don't think that. It doesn't seem
I have to
like
go
that.
I have to go back and read, because I think they do talk about something to that nature about how the skills are amplified within each person. I'm gonna have to look at that and see.
Because then that would be similar to Compound V in the boys,
Boys.
because they all have a healing factor. They all are durable. You know, they all have like a base level thing, and then they have specific individual powers. But it seems like this is very much like, I hate using Avatar: The Last Airbender as a reference point, but like Earth, you know, even within Earth, people why is it escaping me now? Earthbenders. You have earthbenders, like Toph could bend metal. Not all earthbenders can do that. You know, and there are waterbenders who can bend blood. Not all waterbenders can do that.
You're right.
But you don't have earthbenders who can move water a little bit. You know what I mean? But at some point, it's all spirit bending, because we find out, you know, spoiler, that it's all spirit bending, and that some went in a different direction than others. Anyway, that's neither here nor there. So I think they're all siloed as far as heart renderers and Duras, but Duras is not going to have any abilities that a heart renderer will have, and a heart renderer is not going to have any abilities Duras have. Now, if you would say they had things like, you know, accelerated healing for themselves, maybe, you know, a little bit of durability, because doing the small sciences requires a little bit more dexterity, a little bit more strength, a little bit more bone density, stuff like that, sure. But the actual small science, there probably isn't any crossover. Then the individual will be overpowered. Imagine being a Duras and able to heal or able to heart render a little bit, you'd be a problem.
Yeah, that's why I said I don't think it's something that will be major. Like, if I could see being a Grisha and being able to heal like a minor cut, you know, nothing extensive, something just minor. The fact that Genya said Baghra had to amplify her so that she could hear David's heartbeat. You don't have too many human amplifiers, and there aren't even that many animal amplifiers out there. So that's not something I would expect everyone to do. Maybe if Baghra was with David and David wanted to look for something, then she might be able to amplify that, because she amplifies, you know. So even things that they may be able to do in a minute way, she might be able to amplify that little power or whatever to a minimum point, to, you know, to a baseline point to where they could do that. But without her, it's probably just kind of one of those things. It's kind of like me being a mixed person. I have all this DNA, and then I might have like 1% over here. If there was something that could amplify it, that's probably that's how I look at it. Like, Baghra would be the thing that could amplify that little 1% of whatever power a Grisha may have.
Yeah, see, and I guess that's where we disagree, because I don't even think a Duras will have any ability to sense anybody's heartbeat. Like, I think that's strictly because the corporality seem to be people who can deal with the body, things that you do with the body. And a Duras is things that deal with metals and objects and stuff. But because like the fabricators are Duras.
But if you think about it, one, technically speaking, the heart, the blood has metals in it. We have metals in our body.
Blood has metal in it.
Yes, blood.
Yeah, but I can't heal you.
No, but we were talking about specifically about hearing the heartbeat. Think about Jesper when he was focusing the bullets to Ivan. He was listening for Ivan's heartbeat.
No, he was sensing the weakness where he hit him the first time in the armor. He could tell where it was. It wasn't his heartbeat.
You sure?
Yeah.
Somebody was sure. Okay. I'm gonna have to go back, because think maybe I'm thinking about the other because there were a couple of fight scenes going on during that sequence, but I thought that there was a part of that, but you might.
But I understand what you're saying. It's just I don't think it's likely that wouldn't really fit in the way I would see or how I would do the magic or the small sciences in this world.
Right. Okay.
Like the only thing that would be different is I would say because of the nature of Baghra and Alexander, that they may have a little bit of everything, because that's probably why they can do the shadows.
Okay.
Because it's kind of a weird aberration. And I wouldn't be surprised if Alina could do things like heal because of the kind of summoner she is. Sun summoner, which is like this extraneous rare thing. Maybe it's just they're just combinations of all the other things together at once. You understand what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, I wouldn't be surprised if they could do all those other things, but I would be surprised if a Durask could do heart renderer stuff, like listen for heartbeats.
Okay.
Anyway, so, we're in the weeds again.
Yeah, we are, but that's okay because that just tells me that what I need to do, because it has been a while since I've read the book. I do want to go look that up and just see. Okay, so how is it that the Grisha powers work? What what is it that each Grisha can do? Like, are there things that they can do that are attributed to other Grisha? So yeah, we'll go into that. I'm gonna look that up and then we can discuss that further in a future episode. But so anyway,
when you start calling her Anglina.
No. So going back to the crows and Nina healing Inej and all of this other stuff. So Inej basically makes it known that she is about to go on this mission. And Kaz does not look pleased about it. But like she said, she was like, I'm not here for you. He looked so hurt when she said that. She was like, I'm not here for you. I'm here for the Sun Summoner, and I'll buy my own passport. He was like, dang it. But I'm telling you.
Damn it, I'm Kaz. She's like, and where do I sit? Like, damn it.
Right. Now, the other things that are, well, there's one thing that's funny in the scene, and that's the fact that, and you see this throughout the whole episode, I think Nina and Tolya are going to be best friends because they always got some fucking food in their mouth. They're always eating. They're always enjoying themselves with food. And I just think it's the funniest thing because people keep saying stuff to them or giving them looks like they're trying to embarrass them or they're telling them, can you please stop doing that? And both of them looking at each other like, whatever, I'm about to sit here and enjoy myself. The other thing is we find out totally by accident that Wylan is illiterate. And it's because
I felt so bad about that. That's almost like somebody outing somebody for being gay. It's like that's such a personal thing for somebody, especially somebody so as smart as he is. It's like because you everybody can't do what he does. Like he can do stuff that a lot of people can't do, and it's even more impressive when you think about it because he can't read.
Yeah,
he learned all that just by learning it and like by not reading. And it's like, and poor Jesper like just said an offhand comment. He was like, "Oh, fuck."
Yeah, and it's like the more he keeps trying to fix it throughout the episode, it's almost like he just digs the hole a little bit deeper. And he's not doing it on purpose. It's like when you realize that about someone, sometimes it's hard to know the right thing to say. And what he thought was really something that, he thought it was something that was okay. Like, oh, the fact that you were able to do this without being able to read, without, not saying it like that, that means you're clever and smart. And Wylan, who has probably heard this so much in his life, he kind of takes it as patronizing and condescending. And Jesper at one point does not know how to fix it. And then later on, you kind of see the thing in reverse because when Jesper sits Wylan down and he's just basically like, look, this is nothing to be ashamed of. He was like, oh, you're going to tell me how to feel about my shame when you are hiding the most important thing about you. And Jesper was like, he had the smart What, my pretty face? I wouldn't. He was like, no, the fact that you're a durass. Like, you did this, you did that, you fixed your gun. I've seen you shoot, you fixed the piano wire. Why would you hide that? He was like, you're Zemini. Zemini always, they feel like being a Grisha is being blessed. Why would you hide that part? And Jesper was like, because it's not a blessing, it's a curse, and you don't know what it has cost me. And I was like, oops. And I think it was one of those moments where Wylan was like, oh, now I see how he's been feeling, trying to, like you think you're saying something to someone that is a compliment, or that is to be a comfort, or that is supposed to make them feel better. Like, hey, I see that you're a Grisha. That's an awesome thing. You should be proud of that and not hide it. Oh, but guess what? I lost because of that. We find that out later. And I think it's one of those things where Wylan is like, oh, so this is how he's felt when he's been trying to compliment me and I've been kind of biting his head off. So when they walk into that house with both of them kind of on shaky ground, but even before we get to that, we find out that Neshenyar that's in the temple is a copy. It's a fake. They do find out, or I should say, Kaz does find out who has the real one or who may have the real one. So apparently it's owned by someone called the Disciple, and he has a fence that has, been listing some of his personal collections. So their plan is to meet the fence. Nina and Kaz, they pose as a married couple, which is very funny to me.
Hilarious.
And Inej is up on the roof trying to make sure that everything goes okay. With this fence, she ain't stupid at all, because she realizes that they're thieves. She realizes that.
But you say, I know a thief when I've been around long enough to know a thief when I see a thief.
I've worked with bandits. Enough thieves to know
thieves and bandits.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what does he say? We're not bandits. Or something like that.
Yeah. But the interesting thing about that, the whole start of that thing, one of the things that I liked is when they first get to the city, there is a temple, and I guess there's like it's kind of like a day of remembrance or a festival of remembrance. So you see Tolya, you see Inej, you see Zoya all standing at this altar-like thing, and they're each saying their prayers and remembering their loved ones in different ways, because they're all three from different cultures. And I love that they showed that. Like, yes, these three people are from all from different walks of life, different cultures. They're all different types of people, but they have this one thing in common, and they can each do that and be respectful of the way the other person does it without it being a big deal. I love that, because we don't get that a lot in this world, Yeah.
Again, showing the inclusivity that young adult literature has, which actually is pretty cool, because a lot of the shows that we watch are based on YA literature, and a lot of Wheel of Time, for example, it has a lot of inclusion in it. That's really cool, because it shows that young adults actually want that, as far as what they're reading, as far as like they want to see stuff in their literature like they want to see in the world. So I think that's pretty cool.
Yeah. But when Nina and Kaz, they go to meet this the fence, one of the things that Kaz does at the beginning, he tells them, okay, so this is how we find her. We have to go to this particular tea shop. We have to order this particular tea off menu. That's how she will know that we are there for a particular thing. And the funny thing is, Nina is hella literate, and she I can't remember how many languages did she say she speaks, because she
probably say all of them,
right? Because she shows that she can order the tea in the Shu language, and Tolya kind of perks up and he starts talking to her in Shu, and she was like, yes, tell me more. I was like, yeah, they're gonna be best friends. They're gonna eat all the time, and they're gonna sit there and do the fighting and doing the translate. Like I can see her and Tolya being very good friends.
Yeah.
Like
shout to Nina being a total foodie. Like say, I wonder if it's gonna have what if he's gonna have like floral notes or it's gonna be
Kaz is like, it's tea.
like, you drink it.
It's tea.
And like she said, I mean, of course she's a foodie because she eats all the damn time. So it's like she knows exactly what everything tastes like because she eats everything.
Right. But it's one of those things where when we're watching this scene now where Nina and Kaz are meeting with the fence, and they have this custom when you drink the tea, you touch your fingertip to the tea, you touch your forehead, you flick the extra moisture off, and then you touch your forehead. And Nina does it, no problem. Kaz, however, does not. And she kind of calls Kaz out on it. She was like, so, again, Nina introduced them as husband and wife. She was like, so does your husband have a problem with my country's cultures or my culture's customs? And I was like, oop, okay, Kaz, you're about to be looked at as being our equivalent of a bigot or racist or, whatever. You better do the damn thing. And when Nina kind of presses him about it, he takes off his gloves and he does the thing. And you can see him, he does that extra flick with the water. I was like, yeah, he don't want none of this shit touching him. None of it.
I mean, shout out to him for sucking it up and doing it and not doing it with the glove on. He'd be like, I half expected him to do it with the glove on, to be like, clip.
Because that would have been, I think that would have been disrespectful to the culture. And like Nina said, we came all this way for this. Like, I don't know what your issue is, but you need to fix it. Now, what I do realize is that in this scene, once we see what happens, Inej is fully aware of what his issue is, because what happens is once she realizes that they are thieves, she signals, I guess, one of her servant girls. And when Kaz gets up, the woman wastes tea on him. And of course, he starts flashing back to the water. He turns around and he's on the table and he's like hyperventilating. And Nina grabs his hand and she was like, Brecker, just breathe. When she touches his hand, he has the flashback to when he's touching the dead body on the barge. He panics, he runs, and he starts bumping into people. And every time somebody touches him, you kind of see those flashes go in and out of his mind. And then all of a sudden, you see Inej pulling him into an alleyway, and she sits him down and she backs off real quick. And he turns and he sees her, and it's almost like he gets embarrassed. And almost in the same breath, he gets upset. You were supposed to tell her. And she was like, I couldn't leave you, not like this. And then she puts his gloves next to him and she leaves. So I was like, oh, okay. So she is aware of what his triggers are. And again, I think, Anthony, you were the one who said it. If she pays half as much attention to him as he pays to her, she probably knew it and just never said anything, because if he's not going to say anything, why would you bring it up?
Right.
But she knew enough to be like, oh shit, I need to go help him. And she got him out of that crowd. She got him in a place where he could kind of collect himself.
Because he had a complete freak out.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Completely. Like, we've never seen him like that ever. And I know that's
when, in the clinical world, you realize that he has a serious, serious problem, because it will totally interfere with his day-to-day life.
Like, those gloves are his crutch.
Yeah.
Yep. I mean, just like Lori said in the last episode too, she was like, if Pekka Rollins knew that about Kaz, she could have killed, he could have killed him easy.
Any number of people, if they even had an inkling that he was like that, they would have removed him years ago. But see, here's the other problem with that. He's putting himself out there because for the first time in a long time, it's not just a job anymore. They want to actually help. So as he interacts more and more with people, and not just the crows and not just Ketterdam, maybe he'll start to come out of it a little bit more. He has interaction with people, because sometimes if you're stuck in the same area, the same people, the same thing, whatever phobia you have intensifies. But if you get away from it, maybe a different environment can help. So he might actually, without thinking about it, get better down the line.
I mean,
does that make sense?
It does. And it's like, I just kind of wonder what therapy is like in this world, because he definitely needs it.
I don't think it
no
exists. It doesn't exist.
There's no therapy.
Food and wine.
And maybe
the confidence of good friends.
and opium dinner too.
Okay, no, let me.
What kind of confidence are you talking about? And what kind of friends are you talking about?
I'm talking about like Jesper and Inej. Like,
I thought you were talking about the menagerie. The confidence of those.
Because if Cass can't even, if he is to the point where he struggles to even just touch Inej with a cloth so that he can help clean up a wound, you best believe Cass has never been intimate with anybody. I can probably tell you that without a fact.
I thought we were just talking about in general.
No.
Well,
no.
Not Cass specifically.
Oh, okay. No. Yeah, I know some people probably do go to the menagerie for, whatever ails them. But
didn't someone say that before in this show? I don't know if I'm confusing my shows, but they guys that just go to those places just to talk sometimes, and that's how a lot of these guys get their information. A lot of the people like the woman who was in charge of the menagerie, I can't remember her name.
Tontaline.
Yeah, remember she had a lot of influence because she probably knew some stuff.
Yeah.
And the same thing with Pekka Rollins. You kind of learn things about people when they're in those places, because there is a little bit of therapy that goes on. This is a person I can talk to in the quiet of this place and not have to worry about it going anywhere else.
Right.
So there is some therapy.
Yeah, it's just like the champagne room in the strip club.
Oh, jeez. There's also
I wouldn't know anything about that.
There's also monasteries. There's also religious places where if you feel comfortable enough, maybe they can go and talk. That might be their type of therapy that they have in that world, is a monastery, a religious order.
Yeah, like the convent. We just go to the convent and deal with your depression and whatnot.
Yeah, but then they lock you or brick you into a cell, and stuff like that and all that other stuff. But that would probably be the only type of therapy that they probably have, unless they go to different areas other than where they're at, and maybe find that there's like meditative practices somewhere else, or there's a different approach. I mean, I don't think that he can go do yoga to chill out. Okay, let's just put it that way.
Yeah. But okay, we're running long, so let's get to the important part. So of course, they have tracked the fence to her house. They know what her routine is going to be like for the evening. So what they decide to do is Nina and Zoya have to team up. They're going to track her, make sure she doesn't go back home. Jesper, Wylan, Kaz, Tolya, and Inej, they're going to go to the home to try to steal the sword because they believe that's where she has it. So they break into the home, and the home is booby trapped.
It's a trap.
They get stuck in the house, and there's a gas there that basically knocks them out. It causes hallucinations, and it is killing them. Now,
the triple whammy. Knock you out, hallucinations, and it's killing you.
I mean, at least I guess depending on the hallucination, you either die really happy or really tear badly. You either have a good hallucination or a bad trip. So
let's talk about these hallucinations.
They get trapped in a duress-proof and invincible room, and Tolya sits down and starts doing breathing exercises. It kind of reminded me of Harlem Nights when Danny Aiello's character was in the safe and they were like, take little bitty breaths, like.
Yeah, the rest of them are having some issues though, because like you said, triple whammy. But before all of that, we gotta talk about the fact that she got the drop on Nina. And I was sitting here looking at this thing like, if you kill Nina, I'm coming through this TV for you.
Me too. Because I was like,
Nina and Zoya are tracking her through the market, and they don't want to be working together as it is. So Zoya takes off and she's tracking the lady. First of all, I was like, Zoya, you're not being subtle enough. Like anybody with half a brain will be able to tell that somebody is following them. And she comes around the corner and old chick is gone. I was like, yeah, y'all about to be fucked up. I was not expecting her to get the drop on them the way she did. I was like, oh, this bitch can fight. Like, there has to be something more to who she is, because you have the house trapped, which, yes, that could be because of the sword. But I'm starting to feel like, okay, is she the disciple? Because she knew that she was being followed. She probably knew they were coming to her house that night, especially if she had already deduced that they were thieves. She was probably expecting them like, oh, okay, they're about to try this. Yeah, okay.
Well, she knew that they were going to try to follow her to find out where she lives or whatever, to track her, to see where she's. You know, it doesn't take anyone with half a brain in her situation to realize, you know, to be able to pick out a person following you.
Right. Especially if it's somebody that y'all are in a city that you've never been to. You probably stand out. And she probably has contacts all around that city, like, yo, they're over here, they're on this corner, they're following.
And if she is an employee of the disciple, and if you want to talk to the disciple, you have to go through her, then she's probably going to be a force to be reckoned with.
And
because the disciple would trust her enough to do that, or to be, you know, the gatekeeper.
And she's already proven that she's very insightful by being able to tell that they weren't married at first, and knowing that they were full of shit initially. It's like, you know, that she's gonna be paying attention to her surroundings at every moment. So it's like, you know,
if you look at Kaz and you look at Nina, you know those two motherfuckers is not married.
What did she say? I always thought Kirch people were a little more affectionate. No, and Nina was like, oh, but when we're alone, he's all hands, aren't you? Waffles. But I tell you, I
was laughing so hard. It was just wrong.
But he's just sitting there looking like he's looking like a decrepit old man sitting there. Just, dude, y'all are not married. I'm so sorry.
Well, he's got bruising on his face, and that doesn't help. Like, he already looks mean.
It would have been better if it was Tolya and her. Then you could, they might be married, you know?
Yeah. I could see that, especially considering how well we see they get along so far.
Their chemistry, yeah.
Like, literally from the moment those two groups met, she was like, oh, like he was sharing food with her, and she's taking a bite. She was like, oh.
You ever had dried squid before? Oh, God.
I mean,
oh my God, Tamar is gonna kill me. I've given away all my dried squid. Like, really, dude?
Yeah, that's okay. He's formulating friendships. I'm telling you, him and Nina, they're gonna be besties. I feel it in my soul. But yeah, so anyway, like I said, the fence, Oval is her name. She gets the drop on Nina, but Zoya comes to the rescue.
A little bit late though.
Yeah,
but
because Nina like slowed her heart down to make her think she was dead.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I mean, it worked. She's okay. Now they just have to go find Kaz and them and rescue them because, like I said, there's a vapor in the air.
Yeah. Oh, side note.
Causes them to pass out.
I wonder how many motherfuckers Nina has killed by pretending to be dead. You know what I mean? Like, you think you got her. Oh, you're a spy. You start choking her out. Oh, she's dead. You turn your back, and the next thing you know,
yeah,
you're in the afterlife.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you might be
Don't
right.
sleep on Nina. People, you think Nina's all nice and cuddly and cute, but I know
she was a spy for Kirigan. Who thinks that?
She murdered some people.
And then it's like our first introduction to her is her beating a fucking room full of Fjordans.
Yeah.
The same.
But anyway, the last scene that we see in the episode is when everyone starts passing out at the house. Kaz is the last one to fall. And when he falls backward to the floor, we see him splash into some water. And that's when I said hallucinations. He's pulled out of the water by his brother. His brother was like, "Did you think that was it? Did you think I'd go away so easily? Do you think you were going to get out of this so easily?" And he pushes Kaz back into the water, and then the episode goes off. I was like, oh, so we were talking about Kaz and his trauma. This is not going to do anything to help. If anything, this is about to make it 10 times worse.
Sit back.
Man.
I mean, it's not like he's been making progress. So
I honestly, I would say it's been a little bit of progress just because, him admitting to Jesper or Jesper putting the idea out there that, oh, you were going to say that you couldn't do this job without me and that, we're like brothers and brothers sometimes fight, but at the end of the day, we have each other's backs. And Kaz was like, yep, that's what I was.
But that didn't require any touching.
But see, that's the thing. I don't think the touching is the only thing that he needs to work through. Him opening up to people, him getting close to people, him just letting his guard down a little. We didn't see a lot of that in season 1, and I feel like we're starting to see a little bit of that in season 2. Granted, it's not by choice, I don't think, but the fact that he is showing some vulnerability to his crows, I think that is progress, even though it may not be a progress that he's initiating. It is there, and it's giving them the opportunity to help him, because Kaz also is not the type of person who's going to ask for help.
Well, he's not going to make any progress in any, like, that is a little bit of cognitive, but if he can get himself to emotionally open up to people, it might lead to him being able to touch people. Mm-hmm. I don't think that's possible. I think the only thing he's speaking, only thing that's going to work for him is exposure. He's going to have to be exposed to touching people. And until he does that, he's really going to have a hard time opening up to people.
Yeah.
Because it's like turning his back on Inez. He wants her. He can't look at her when she's like that because he wants to touch her. Mm-hmm. Like, he can emote with her all he wants to, but as long as as long as he has an aversion to touching people, he's not going to let people in any further than they are already.
Yeah.
Like, he can say those things to Jesper, but he's not going to give him a big sloppy hug and a kiss. This is not going to happen.
Yeah.
You can't even look at Inez, and she's showing a little bit of flesh. He can't, because his urge to touch her is like really, really a problem for him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So,
yeah.
And I don't even know if cognitive therapy will work for him, because his intelligence level is too high. You just have to throw him in you have to make him strip down and throw him in a room full of bodies and people who are alive and just force him to No, that's not how.
Like,
That's
I
not how
know.
exposure therapy works.
Ooh.
You just have to do a little bit at a time. Like we have to cut out little holes in the fingertips of the gloves so he can touch people, and we work from there.
Yeah. Ain't no cutting holes. You got to start with one. You're gonna have to start with one, and it's gonna have to be the smallest hole to allow for the least amount of skin exposure.
Or I know we're therapying him, or we have to get him mesh gloves, and we have to start him off with a really fine mesh, and as we go along, we're gonna do a larger and larger mesh, because at least he will still have the feeling that he has gloves on. So we'll have to do that.
Yeah. But yeah, Kaz, he definitely needs some therapy. He's really going to need it after this.
And a little bit of cognitive therapy. We'll have to throw a little bit of cognitive there, but exposure is probably going to be the best for him.
Yeah.
Because that's what got him in this situation. It's probably the only way we're going to get him out.
Yeah, that's true. Ooh, okay. So we can head shrink Kaz in the next episode, because I know that's good. If that's how you start out this hallucination,
it's not good.
Not at all. Not at all.
Because then there's PTSD thrown in there too. That just compounds the issue.
And now your dead brother is speaking to you like, oh, you thought you were going to get away from me. You thought it was going to be this easy. No. Like, and sticks him in the wall. I was like, Kaz is going to be so much more fucked up after this. Like,
yeah. So now then we're going to have to also give him some coping skills to deal with the PTSD too. He's got a lot going on.
I just want to wrap him in bubble wrap and then give him a hug, because he needs it.
He's got a lot.
He really does. And like I said, it's so weird seeing Freddie Carter play this character so well the way that he does, because every time I see him on a video, he's laughing and smiling. Like I just finished watching before we started recording, they released the season 2 blooper reel on the Instagram channel, and he's just laughing and smiling and making jokes, and it's just, yeah. Wrap my Kaz up in some bubble wrap and just protect him at all costs.
Yeah, and I love how he's just like way different than he really is, like as far as like being who he is and being Kaz. It's like those are two entirely different people.
Yeah.
But this makes it so cool, because Jesper is basically the same person in real life, and like he really is. He's just exactly the same.
Wylan too.
Yeah.
Amita Suman is different from Inej, because whereas Inej is kind of, I won't say she's hard, but yeah, in a sense she is hard, and she's not a very happy person, because she has this, she's a wraith, she's an assassin. She deals with all the serious stuff. And Amita Suman, she is so funny in real life, and she's also one of those people, she gets embarrassed very easily. She's always doing this when people are talking to her, when she gets a compliment, like she's so sweet. So it's like, yes, it's interesting watching them in real life and then seeing them on the show, like, wow, y'all are acting your asses off for real. But
I'm sorry, side note, for those listeners who are in the therapy thing, I'm not a therapist. I do know that exposure and cognitive therapy are used for PTSD. It's just that I think his phobia of the touching, we kind of have to deal with that as a separate issue.
Yeah.
But yeah, we're going to do the exposure and cognitive therapy to work through all of that.
That poor child.
Just saying. I just want to make sure. I don't want people to think I don't know what I'm talking about.
Right.
Oh, y'all have any other thoughts on this episode? That was a lot.
There's a lot going on.
There's a lot. Like,
there's a lot going
after
on.
The first 2 episodes, they have been zipping along.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie. The rule of the 4th episode and now we're in the 5 has helped out the show, because I was a little bit worried episodes 1, 2, and most of 3. I was really worried about this show. I was really trying to figure out how I was going to make it through.
Before we go, we didn't talk about Pekka.
Oh, yes, you're right. Pekka. He is at
Hellgate.
Hellgate.
He's the alpha. You throw him
He's
in
at
with the
Hellgate. Now, I think it's interesting that now you are a prisoner in the prison where you were controlling and paying off the guards.
Yeah. Oh, that's about to pay off though now.
Yeah, because he comes into the ring, or not the ring. They do have a fight, but it's not the ring. He comes into the center of whatever this little area is, and Matthias's roommate comes out and holds his hand out like he's welcoming Pekka.
We call them cellmates.
What I say? Roommate. Cellmate.
Yeah.
Same difference.
It's not as voluntary.
Oh no, it's not.
It's just like the difference between a pirate and a privateer.
Okay. So
one steals and one gets one steals to get paid, the other one pays
to steal, gets paid to steal. So Matthias's cellmate comes out, holds out his hand to Pekka, because the guards have just, I'm like, the same guards that you paid are now throwing you face down on the ground. Like, oh yeah.
Oh, how the mighty have fallen.
Right.
Supposedly.
So when he pulls him up, he has, is it a rock that he's like holding something up against Pekka's neck, and he's telling everyone like, oh, my brother Damien, which was his previous cellmate, fell because of the orders of this guy. So basically he has an axe to grind with Pekka, which most of the people in that prison probably do. But Pekka lets it be known real quick, I ain't the one. He pushes that dude on the ground. He picks up the rock that he had, puts it in there was a pillowcase out there or something. And he starts bashing Buddy's brain in, bashing his face in. And then when he's done with the rock, he finishes off with his hands. And he gets up and he was like, I'm just letting y'all know, I am Pekka Rollins. I am not about to get killed by some random ass fool. He was like, y'all can either work for me or I'll kill you. You decide how you want this to play out. Now, the other prisoners are holding Matthias back because he's trying to help his cellmate. And once the fighting is over, he goes over to the guy. And when I tell you, I was like, I just got a good look at his face when I watched it again tonight. I didn't realize that his eye was closed up to the point, but you could still see the inside of his eye because it was just that. It was, I was like, okay, this is like maybe almost on the level of Walking Dead Glenn when he got his face bashed in. But Matthias is trying to get a doctor, and the dude was like, nope. He was like, don't do this. He was like, what did he say? Make sure I'm buried under the roots of an ash tree so that jail will accept me. And he said, you have to live your life for you. You have to make it count. Basically telling Matthias, look, don't get stuck in here. Figure out what you need to do and do it. And the look that Matthias gives Pekka at the end of that, I was like, this finna be some shit. Because he's about to go after Pekka.
Well, he's not going to go after Pekka, and then Pekka's not going to mess with him because Pekka don't want that smoke.
But Pekka has the other people in the prison behind him.
Yeah, but they just watched this motherfucker whip the cannibal's ass. So they're not going to fuck with him either. Like, we like you, Pekka, and yeah, you're good and all, Pekka, but we're not about to jump this dude over here. He's good. As long as he ain't messing with us, we're good. I think Pekka's gonna have to, if Pekka's gonna have a problem with him, which he really shouldn't, other than, I mean, that was just a cellmate.
Oh no, he's gonna have a problem with him because you have to remember, Pekka knows who Matthias is.
But Matthias
And
doesn't know who
Nina,
Pekka. But Matthias doesn't know who Pekka is. He
he
doesn't know the
doesn't.
significance of Pekka. Matthias ain't the.
I'm saying I understand what you're saying about Matthias,
Okay, he from
but
his
Pekka,
from Matthias's
yeah.
perspective, it doesn't really is not much of anything. Now Pekka may be thinking this dude may come after me for some reason, but I don't. But he would have to.
I don't think it's going to be that. Pekka knows who Matthias is because of Nina. And Nina is the reason, part of the reason his ass is in Hellgate now. Matthias is on his radar, I guarantee you that.
Right, but he doesn't really have any reason to go after Matthias. He doesn't have reason to go after it. Like, okay, Matthias knows Nina and Nina knows Matthias. He knows everything about Matthias. But what Pekka does doesn't have anything to do with Matthias.
Nina is the reason Pekka is in Hellgate right now. So
I know. So
he's going to have a problem with Matthias
Nina
just by association.
Just to kill Matthias, right?
Yes. Yeah. Just to get back at Nina.
Yeah.
So that's going to be a problem.
Either way, I don't care what Pekka says to me. I ain't fucking with that dude because he whipped the cannibal's ass.
Right. No doubt.
Period.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, Pekka. No.
We'll see how that goes. But yeah, I have a feeling that once Pekka realizes, like, Pekka is in there, he sees Matthias, especially if he sees Matthias, like we saw Matthias looking at him, and we saw Pekka kind of look towards his direction. I don't think he was looking at Matthias because Matthias was over the now dead body of his cellmate. But if he sees Matthias over that cellmate that he just killed, and nobody else is paying attention to the cellmate, he's going to know, okay, so this guy was important to him. However small that importance was, he at least cared enough about him to go over there while he's dying. This is also the boyfriend of the Heartrender that just fucked me over and sent me here.
But if Pekka did his research after he figured out what was going on, which I'm sure he did, he knows that she's the reason that Matthias is in there. And so the smart thing for him to do is to be like, hey, I know she put your ass in here and she really didn't try to get you out. Join me and we figure a way out of this.
Yeah.
If you help me out, I'll help you out. And we can get revenge on this bitch that put us both in here. You see what I'm saying? Like, you have to realize that's how Pekka thinks.
Yeah.
He's thinking on how I can turn all of this to my advantage. He's already the big dog in the prison. He was the big dog out. He's a big dog in. We have a whole history in our world of mafia bosses running things from the prison. Gang leaders running things from the prison. Why shouldn't Pekka be any different?
Right.
Yeah.
Oh.
And he obliterated that poor man's face. Like
My question is, why did you think I mean, I know I said it in the last episode, Hellgate is for the worst of the worst. But still, why did you think that you was going to run up on Pekka Rollins and come out the victor in that? I mean, maybe he was thinking, okay, you know what? All these other folks in here are probably in here because of Pekka. He probably thought he was going to have some help.
No, I think he thought he had the drop on him. It's just that he couldn't close the deal. You know? Maybe he was 10, 15 years younger. He may have had a shot, but
maybe, but Pekka was definitely in better shape than him.
And Pekka is a man who, at some point in his life, didn't have anything to lose. Like, he had nothing to lose and everything to gain by killing this man.
That's true.
So
that's true. Because notice, like, the guards, nobody came, nobody stopped them. It was just kind of like, oh well, one less mouth to feed. Or we got one, we lost one. Oh well, call it even. So yep, that was episode 5, and now we have 3 episodes left. They have a lot of ground to cover, but I don't think it'll be a problem, especially with the way they've gone these last couple of episodes. Like they are moving through the story. Now, I will say this. So I'm wondering what they are changing from the books to the screen, because at this point, from where Alina and Nikolai and all of them are, they're in these caves. It looks kind of like, church pews that she's sitting on. At this point in the story, in the book, the apparat makes a reappearance and it becomes this really weird cultish type thing where, there are his followers and they are worshipers of the sun summoner, to the point where they're keeping Alina captive because she's weak, and there was like a whole fight between her and Kirigan that has not happened and I don't think will happen. So it's going to be interesting to see if they're not going to do this part of the story that's in the books, how they're going to change it. And I know they probably will, just because of the fact that right now they even have the twins separated, and the twins in the books were part of this I won't say they were part of the cult, but they are also worshipers of Sancta Alina. And I think they were working for the apparat at some point, and then they stopped working for him and they were completely loyal to Alina. So it's going to be interesting to see what they do with the story moving forward. Like I said, we only have 3 more episodes left. And if they haven't done that at this point in the show, I doubt if they're going to do it. If they do a season 3, maybe that'll come in season 3, however they do that. But I'm curious to see what direction they're going to go with the rest of the season. So any final thoughts?
This was, they put, I didn't even think about it until we almost forgot about Pekka Rollins. They packed a lot of shit into this episode.
They did.
Like there were like 4 or 5 different storylines going at the same time in this one.
But you didn't feel rushed, and it didn't feel like anything was lacking or being missing. Yeah. They were all pretty balanced. So
that's true.
They got a lot because of having the limited episodes, but I'll give them this. They really moved the story ahead a lot, and I enjoyed it thoroughly. I really enjoyed the next episode, which I have notes on, but this episode, and I didn't get to talk about episode 4, but episode 4 I thought was absolutely brilliant, and I loved how they got Pekka. I loved how they used the kid, and I think I was sort of sad when it ended, and I was like, hello, halfway point. So yeah.
Yeah.
I know. I wish you were here yesterday. I was like, we could have leveraged that episode out. I was like, man, I miss my homie.
Yeah, don't worry, I'm gonna a lot of leverage references in that for that episode.
There's a lot of leverage. I got leverage episodes for episode 7, not 6. 6 is airbending or bending in general. 7 is leverage.
The pacing again has been really good. The editing has been really good. It's much better. They learned a lot of lessons from last season. Mm-hmm. As far as how everything is done. So
yeah,
like I said, episodes 4 and 5, great.
Huh? All right. Well, we'll see where the rest of this season is gonna go. But for now, that is it for our show. You can find us online at www.fandomhybrid.com. We are on social media on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter at Fandom Hybrid. You can chat with us on our Discord channel. You can watch our videos on our YouTube channel, and you can listen to us on all major podcast streaming platforms. Thanks for listening. We hope you join the conversation next time.